They lasted a long time. Then we have Conrail with the new cab, of course, and this is the can opener scheme with the early road numbers for the can opener, no quality. And then we have CSX with the .com scheme. These are active locomotives. They're still in the CSX roster. They're out there today. You can mix them in to any modern train, or if you're just a CSX fan, just buy it because you want it. We have Norfolk Southern with the horse head. This is the last scheme we saw the Norfolk Southern Dash-8s in before they retired. And the road numbers we happen to pick came from Conrail, so they'll have the Conrail cab on there, those Norfolk Southern numbers. We have Union Pacific in the We Will Deliver scheme. Really cool, strong scheme. Always like this paint scheme. Just classy little marketing line on the nice UP paint scheme. And one limited edition collector series that Ross pushed me to do and add at the last second.
You're welcome.
And I feel like a lot of people will thank him for that. The Genesee and Wyoming Heritage Unit. They're painting up a lot of their locomotives in this paint scheme. And it's really cool. It's a nice simplified version of their corporate scheme. It's based off of their original RS1 paint scheme that they had when they first opened up shop. So it's cool to see them applying this paint scheme on the more modern locomotives.
Yeah, maybe we'll see it on a Jeep 38 or Jeep 40 sometime.
I think we did this 48, the straight 38
in
the last catalog.
I wish I knew.
We did.
Oh, good. All right, see, there you go. There you go.
Okay.
All right. Premier line, 2-bay centerflow hoppers.
2-bay center flow hopper. These are the bread and butter to every layout. I think every layout needs these. So we're going to start with BNSF in the circle cross scheme. We have CSX. We have N&W, Rio Grande, and my favorite, the Winchester and Western. The commodities for these, since they're so short, it's dense commodities like sand, cement, anything like that.
Cement, sand,
frac
sand.
Yeah, frac sand, stuff like that. These, I mean, they go everywhere, anywhere. You can say most trains had at least 3 or 4 of these rolling around. So
anywhere where they make cement, you'll see these cars. So it covers nationwide pretty much.
And then we have the 3-pack, which is the CNW in the yellow, green, and gray. We love our 3-packs. And I think the Midwesterners will love these too.
They will.
So these are all, those C&Ws are all just as a 3-pack, not sold separately.
Yes. Yeah, these are a 3-pack, not sold separately. So if you need your C&W 2-bay hopper fix, you have to get it in 3s.
And all of these cars come in 2 and 3 rail. And it looks like all of them are 2-car numbers except for that group of C&W cars, right?
Correct.
Cool. That is cool. All right. Next up, Premier hot metal car.
Hot metal car.
With a flickering molten load.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we don't show that load, but it's pretty cool. It's if you look at the top of the car, and of course, that barrel rotates, and there's electronics in there, and there's some LEDs, and it flickers red, and looks like a hot load that was just poured in.
Hot load. Oh yeah. No, these are really cool. If you can YouTube the flickering load if you want to check out the feature. I'm sorry that we don't have a nice little neat promo to show you during the stream, but we have.
I did look for one, but I didn't have one.
Yeah, well, next time maybe when we get a working sample, we can
right.
Put it around.
But, so the last time these cars were run was 2019 by MTH, and Atlas bought the tooling in 2021. And of all the offerings that we'll go through, only this black version was offered by MTH, and that was way back in 1997. I think it was part of the first run, and they didn't have the flickering loads back then. And these particular ones are offered in 4 different car numbers. I think that's true for all of them, right?
That is, and except for the last 2 at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, they only have 2 road numbers because I'm sure that's all the road numbers Scott could find and decorated in these schemes like this.
Remember, these cars, they were never this pretty for this long.
No, they they just turned to grime, really, like with all that hot metal and
slag and whatnot.
The slag and rust and all that nastiness of the steel mill. But that being all said, we do have some prototypical schemes here for you. Even if they did get dirty and unrecognizable, we still went through the effort of finding photos of them before they got all dirty. So we have, as Andy mentioned, the generic black scheme, which if you just have your own little freelance steel mill and you want to steel mill a hot metal car, this is perfect for you. If you're a Bethlehem Steel fan, we have one based on the Bethlehem Steel paint scheme. It's not much of a paint scheme. It's road number and the drum is colored. And then we have Rogue Steel, which is cool. I like the red and the black. US Steel or US Steel Co.
These US Steels are kind of interesting because there's 4 car numbers, but they're 4 different product numbers because each scheme differs with the name of a famous football player from, shockingly, Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And our Dr. Scott, he's from Pittsburgh. He worked on this project, and he was ecstatic when he found out that each road number had a Pittsburgh Steelers name associated with it.
I think one of the names is spelled wrong, which is prototypical.
Yeah, I think it's me.
Correct. Yes, Franco Harris is one of them. Yeah. Terry Bradshaw.
So I think it's Joe Green that was spelled wrong.
It is Joe Green, and
there's no E on the end.
Yeah, there's supposed to be an E on the end, but on the real car,
the steel mill workers spelt it how they would spell green, like the color, not the name.
Yeah. So. That was pretty ballsy of them because, Joe Green was not somebody to mess around with.
Oh, very
annoyed by that.
Well, they meant well.
I guess.
Didn't execute it very well. But no, so if you order the United States Steel, you'll have a nice little pleasant surprise with some Pittsburgh Steeler names on those cars.
Yep, for sure.
And then we have, I'm going to butcher this name.
Arcelor. Sure.
Go with that. Yeah, I'm going with it. That's probably the most decorated scheme out of all of them.
It is.
It's got the nice stripe on it and some logos, some warning.
So the fact that you're butchering that name, you don't know what it is.
I do not.
Arcelor.
I'm man enough to admit it. Well, I don't know.
The things that we model probably don't include a steel mill. I'm just going to throw it out there, but they're pretty cool.
I'm a huge Bethlehem Steel guy, but
I like the cars that go out.
These other ones out in Pittsburgh, Ohio, the Rust Belt, I'm not too familiar with.
No.
And then we have ISG, which is this inland steel?
Seems like it. Paul would know.
I think it is, but that's another cool one. I like the red decoration on the rotating parts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's cool looking.
Yeah.
Like you said, in real life, they would never look this pretty.
No, maybe for day one.
For one day, maybe. Yeah. 1 hour.
For sure. All right, up next, the Premier 40-foot modern tank car.
The modern tank car. Cody, this is your project. Cody behind the camera actually did this. So I'm sure he's really proud that we're going over this right now.
Well, I can tell folks that when you bought this tooling in 2021, all of these paint schemes, the car was last built by MTH in 2020, and none of the paint schemes in this winter 2025 catalog were ever offered by MTH. So all new offerings in this model.
Yeah, so they're pretty striking and attractive, if I do say so myself here.
So what is elephant fertilizer?
What is elephant fertilizer? It sounds very gross, but I have no idea. But we start with the CA-IX elephant fertilizer car in that really attractive tank car scheme. The CSOX Drive Safely was actually a tank that Cody saw on the side of the road, right? Does that sound right? So he added it to a tank car, and it looks really cool. It's a Sitco.
It does.
I'm trying to see what our
we have technical advisory going on.
Resident expert.
Somebody looking up elephant fertilizer?
Paul just relayed to us that our feed started 15 minutes late on Facebook.
Ugh.
Oh, we're live now.
We are live now.
Yeah, it's live.
Huh.
So we may have got cut off at one point. We'll post the full recording. Either way, our software saves everything, and we'll have the full recording for everybody. We're sorry. We just settled into this new studio. So we'll get if you missed anything, we'll edit this and post it up on the web and have it nice and neatly recorded for you later.
But feel free to ask all the questions you can if you have the catalog in front of you, and we'll answer them at the end. No problem.
But let's go back to it. Elephant fertilizer. Cody, what did you pick out with elephant fertilizer?
Yeah, what's the elephant fertilizer, bub?
It's just elephant fertilizer.
You just like it because it's got an elephant head, probably?
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
So Cody, our project manager of this car, says it's got an elephant head and it made him really happy.
And it's based off a proto photo. And he said it probably smells bad. So
we can assume so. Educated guys,
I think
right?
all of that is extremely accurate.
But the moving right along, the GATX Essex Chemical, I like this one a lot. I love the red lettering on it. I love the logo on it. And it's just a really cool tank car. Oh, it did. Oh, turn it on and turn it back off. You have our audio there.
I can hear you.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we're just gonna turn our camera on.
I'm not having the greatest luck down here.
No, that's all right. All right, good to go. So we'll do the NATX. I love this one. It's nice and yellow. It kind of sticks out like a sore thumb.
It does.
Which is why it's awesome. And then the other NATX, which is GW Sugar. I want to say Great Western Sugar. GW Sugar. It has like all the Great Western things to it, but it's GW Sugar. We have the Roystar.
Royster. Like
Yeah.
oyster.
Royster.
Yeah.
Royster. I'm watching too much Succession. I love the script, or I say script, but I like the lettering on that one as well. And finishing up with the UTLX Magma and its iconic Magma lettering
That's
on the
a
side.
really cool one, the Magma.
These tank cars are still around today. Pretty plentiful.
It's so like the
So we
prototype
admit,
for
yeah.
this model is a general service tank car.
Yeah.
And we still see some of these today.
Yeah, which is pretty neat. And since we're in the tank car mood, we're going to move on to the next tank car, which is freakishly large.
Yeah.
'Cause we love our freakishly large freight cars at Atlas.
So you had one average size tank car, and now you got one very, very large
Tank
tank
car
car.
is bigger than yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard to see the difference in the video, but yeah, it is a big car.
I assure you, these are twice the size of the
They're like
Ford.
the locomotive length, maybe. Or, yeah,
They're like probably like 65-foot cars or something like that. But yeah, we have a ACP, which is, I believe that's the Air Products tank car, which that's the initial stand for. And then we have a Tamac Trans, which I think they're based out of upstate New York because I did that in HO scale before. And then we have FMC Chemicals, which they made they're kind of like a Monsanto, big chemical giant company.
Where are they from? FMC. There's a lot of
everywhere.
those. Yeah, like I saw a lot.
They probably had factories all over the country at one point.
Yeah.
Kind of they did kind of like the polyfoam, like what do you call it?
Polyfoam.
Packaging.
Oh,
type of
okay,
stuff.
that makes sense.
You know, because everything packaging's all oil based and petroleum based, yes. Petroleum company basically. Suburban Propane, that's a cool one. Those are pretty popular and plentiful in the 80s and 90s. You could see them on any mixed freight train, really. Along with the Virginia Petroleum Corp. Even though it says Virginian on there, I assure you these made it all over the country. Then we have Wanda Petroleum. That's another popular one. We haven't done that one in a really long time. And they're actually butane and propane. So if you ever used the Zippo lighter before, they made the butane for it.
Don't light it by the car.
Yeah, that too. Don't light it by a tank car. And then back by popular demand, we had a lot of requests because a lot of people didn't get the chance to pre-order last time, and they saw it in their hobby shop, and they're like, that's a really awesome car. I want it. So we're doing it for you again. Please pre-order this time. It's the really, really colorful NS safety train. It's based off a real car number. It's really cool. So firefighters hop on this car and they train with all the different outlets you can find on a tank car and what to do during a rail emergency if they happen to find a tank car that's breached or leaking or anything like that, to help train the first responders, give them hands-on experience with the rolling stock.
Yeah, Norfolk Southern had a whole bunch of different cars and locomotives that were decoed out in that scheme. And,
yeah. Norfolk
really,
Southern.
it's quite attractive, and I think you brought up a good point there, Matt, about folks seeing this car after it came out the last time, and none were left to procure. And it just goes to the fact that when you see these items in these catalogs, they are not unlimited.
No.
Production runs are small, and if you're interested, you really should get an order in with your retailer before the deadline, which is what, February 26th?
February 26th,
Yep.
2025.
So don't hesitate if something in here strikes your fancy to get an order in. Otherwise, you'll be unhappy like the others that missed out. When was the last time that car was done, that scheme? Do you remember?
That was done 2020, I want to say.
Yeah,
Okay, so 5 years. You have to wait another 5 years.
Yep. And
Yeah.
with the popularity, especially that scheme,
Yeah.
if there's something you like, feel free to say something. That train has more than just that tank car in it. And,
Yeah.
tank car we can
And
do.
also, we're remaking that because somebody did say something.
Yeah.
So if you, like, we're not mind readers. If you got something you want to see, suggest it. And you don't know how many people also suggest the same thing. And it's more than you think. And we like hearing from you guys. It really helps us do our job.
We love it.
Make you guys happy.
Yep. Fill the email box, please.
Yeah.
All right, good sales pitch, fellas. All right, up next, Master O 60-foot auto parts boxcar.
Yes, backed by popular demand, our 60-foot auto parts boxcar, really popular in the Detroit area, moving auto parts from the big GM.
All of
companies.
Michigan and
All Michigan. But towards the end of their service lives, these did end up at other railroads that became storage boxcars, or they were kind of
paper service.
paper service. So they were just, I'm forgetting the name right now because there's a camera in front of me. But it's when they stay on one railroad and they go back and forth.
Captive service.
Captive service. Thank you.
Yeah.
The camera. I swear. I knew that. I knew that before I came here. But we will start with the Andersons BAEX. We have the Arkansas and Missouri.
Well, hold on. Who are the Andersons?
The Andersons.
They're a rail car leasing company.
Mm.
And what's unique about this Andersons boxcar is the Andersons aren't known for buying boxcars at all.
No.
They're really into hoppers. They started as really like a grain store. Like they would buy the cruddiest hopper cars they could find.
Yeah.
And lease them to co-ops and stuff like that, and at a discounted price, cheaper than the railroad could. So they were basically they're a rail car leaser, but they're not known for leasing boxcars,
Which is what makes these incredibly unique. But it's such a plain Jane scheme. But
it is
utilitarian boxcar, if you will.
and it's
For
one of the
sure.
few non-billboard schemes on this boxcar.
Yeah.
Usually, all the big railroads that had these painted, because there's so much real estate on these that they would paint them up and make most
map or
out of
something.
them. Yeah.
Most of the real estate there. But the Arkansas and Missouri kind of followed in the Andersons' footsteps there. They just
They're
put
short
a
line.
little logo on there.
Tiny little logo. Yeah.
Yeah, they're more focused on their locos. They
Yes.
don't-
And they're great locomotives.
Yeah.
With these, again, these boxcar storage units, captive service, anything you name it, they can kind of get it done. The UP Rock is pretty cool. Or I'm sorry, this is UP X Rock, as you can tell with the patch out. We're doing a lot of patch outs in this catalog. It's getting real excited that people are excited about patch outs.
People have responded really well to the patch outs.
To patch outs. And it's a really funny two-tone blue scheme, if you will.
I'm trying to go back to that so people can see it again. Give me a sec.
I'm probably way out of order. I am.
No, you're fine. I hit a button. So there it is. So it was a rock, and now it's a UP with some poorly applied different colored paint to cover up.
Probably a roller job.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty car at one point.
Yeah, well, for not too long either. So when they painted that blue, the Rock Island declared bankruptcy probably within a year.
Okay.
So anytime you see the Rock Island, the Rock in blue, they painted that within a year going bankrupt. So it's UP probably had this painted like that longer than Rock Island had it in the nice big
For sure.
rock paint scheme. And that's why we didn't do rock numbers in this run, because you're like, hey, you got a Rock Island patch, but you don't have the original. It's really hard to find pictures of the original Rock Island paint scheme. It's easier to find patches.
So fast.
Interesting.
Yeah, they painted these cars and went bankrupt so fast that it's hard to find cars in the Rock Island blue paint scheme like that, because some were painted like that for as little as a month or a week and got new owners.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Of the Billboard series, we say, or with the original owners, we have the Southern, which has that wonderful Southern on it. It has the green light in the middle of the O.
Yeah.
They had a lot of these. They had traffic coming out of the south as well, interchanging. And they're just big auto cars.
Yeah.
All kinds of parts in these things.
And all the car, like, so you ask why Southern has an auto parts car. There's no car. They had steel mills down in the South. Birmingham had a ton. They make car frames and miscellaneous car parts, and they would ship them up to Detroit. So that's why the Southern, who's nowhere near Detroit and Ohio in the automaking business, had auto parts cars because they had steel mills down in like.
And there's quite a bit of the auto stuff down there now. So it's
now they're
very unique how that kind of happened.
But back in when these cars in the 60s and 70s, they were going from the steel mills, bringing up stamp metal up to Michigan for them to assemble.
Yep.
And of course, the Southern here is different from the previous 4 cars in that double door instead of single door.
That is correct as well.
That is correct. We went heavy. Three or 4 double doors in here.
Yep. I think 4.
The double door makes the most sense for this car. If I were to go buy one of these, down at Boxcar Walmart or something, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
But after the Southern, I have the N&W. It's beautiful hamburger scheme, as we call it. It has the N&W with the half circles on top of it, or the hamburger. They had a few of these. It wasn't a crazy amount, I don't believe.
Not too many in this particular scheme.
Not too many in this particular scheme. But it's the big Norfolk and Western on the right and the hamburger on the left. So any N&W modeler, I'm sure you're going to want this.
Yeah, they were switching from the blue rolling stock to black when they started buying these cars.
Was that the Claters? No, that's probably before that.
Probably.
Yeah. But they were switching to black after. So the blue is kind of gets everybody excited. I like the blue as well.
It's colorful.
Now we go on to our new road numbers here. We have CSX and it's blue, Plain Jane CSXT. We have the Erie Lackawanna and brown with its Erie Diamond. And we have the DT&I, Detroit, Toledo, and Ironton, which is a huge boxcar or auto parts boxcar.
All
user.
they had was,
that was like their main,
stuff,
out of the GM plants and all that. And then last we have the UP with the automated railway map on it, which was somehow super iconic.
I love that map.
With the big shield.
Like a preschool map, but on a freight car. It's cool.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of railroads kind of took this and they were like, we should do that as well.
It's colorful, it catches your eye, and like, what's that? Looks like Fruit Loops logo or something.
Map.
Yeah. It gets your attention.
I like it.
I like
it shows up on more than just boxcars, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it does. Yeah, it's like caboose, all sorts of stuff.
Boxcars the best thing.
All right, next up, Trainman, 52.5-foot flat with pipe loads.
Yes, the beloved flat car with pipe load. We had some fun with this one. We have a wide mix of geographical stuff here. We got Alaska Railroad, really pretty. It's got that classy blue with yellow.
These cars have tie downs for the pipes, right? We don't show them in the picture, but there's tie downs separately applied, right?
So if you choose to do so, there are little tie downs that come, and you can strap your load down.
Do you make it sound like it's not the easiest process?
It's a little intricate. It's a little. I think if you were an HO modeler before, you have no problem doing that.
Okay.
If have a little larger fingers and kind of done O scale, G scale your whole life, it might be a little. Well, it's not too hard. It's all pressure, but there are extra tie down straps within these models,
just in case you snap one.
Yeah, and you can call us if you break one.
Yeah,
we'll have more. So we have Alaska Railroad. Everybody loves Alaska Railroad. It's just iconic and cool. People seem to go to Alaska once, and then they decide, hey, I'm going to model Alaska Railroad at home. And
it's a really unique
It's
railroad,
way more
honestly.
popular, too, than I thought.
They have, like, some series about the Alaska Railroad.
Oh, the TV show.
That are so
the Alaska
cool.
Railroad.
So it's like old school out there.
Yeah. But not to get carried away with Alaska Railroad.
It deserves its following.
Yeah. It's a hardcore railroad. It's cool. Underrated. Bessemer and Lake Erie, which I just put BL and E. But Bessemer and Lake Erie, the pipe loads are appropriate for them. They did tons of metal fittings and, steel mill central over there.
And bridges.
Yeah. So abutments, any sort of steel load you want to slap on there would look great. But by all means, use the pipes. It's already there for you. And then we have Boston and Maine. This is a cool one. Has a nice little shrunken Boston and Maine logo centered on it. We have C&J. One of our warehouse workers over here is a big C&J fan and He's an older fellow, and he's like, "Why don't you do Lady Liberty on there?" And
I should have put Lady Liberty.
I told him, well, C&J didn't really, they never repainted these flat cars.
And
They
talk about plain Jane for
they
the freight
kept them
cars.
plain.
Come on.
C&J would keep it plain, so maybe next time we'll do a little Fubi of the Lady Liberty Herald.
That's the CRP reporting mark.
Yeah,
actually.
that's kind of a steam air reporting mark too for the C&J. So
Thank you.
It's a good tradition there. Okay, and then we have EJ&E, Monon. The EJ&E I should mention is orange and green. Monon is white and brown. Then we have yellow, the Morris
Knudsen.
Knudsen.
Yeah.
They were a big locomotive leaser back in the day. They had some maintenance away equipment. And this particular flat car is something they would use in their shops to place prime movers on as they would work on getting their locomotives out for lease. So it's a cool, really cool eye-catching freight car with their logo in yellow. Can't beat it. And speaking of eye-catching, we have the U.S. Army Transportation Corps in that classic green wood deck color, and then you have your Army of Transportation Corps logo on there, which makes a perfect leeway for our separate sale military vehicles, which we have on the next page. Really,
Yes.
the purpose of the flat cars is to put your tanks on from this page.
From Motor City Classics. Yes, we have our partnership. These are beautiful die cast. There's some plastic in these as well. The Sherman tanks, if any flat car owner, especially in the steam era, really like Sherman tanks and flat cars, that's like hand in hand. Or tanks in general. But I like the Sherman tank. So let's start with the US M4A3 Sherman tank, medium tank. Beautifully decorated. It's awesome. This is the M5A1 light tank. We have the infantry tank Mark IV.
Churchill tank.
Yeah,
So quick
Churchill.
note, that picture is not a Churchill tank. Any military guy will know that's another Sherman M4A3. We'll have the correct stock photo of a Churchill tank on our website, and we'll get that updated for you guys. Churchill is actually a British tank.
Now the M26, that is the correct picture, right?
Yeah, that's M26 Pershing, named
like
after
your
General
style.
Pershing. Yeah,
That's like more your style.
This is more. The Pershings served like the last month in World War II, and basically were more famous in the Korean War because they would knock out all the T-34s. And it was the best American tank.
In addition to the tanks, we have the Willie Jeep and trailer. We have the GMC Wrecker,
It's got a big crane in the back,
which
so
is
you can
awesome.
do maintenance on your tanks.
And then these like super awesome the gun motor carriages.
That's cool.
Those
With
things
the
are
anti-aircraft gun in the
Yeah,
back.
and then the Ford M20 armored utility car.
Yeah, which is also nicknamed the Greyhound.
Really?
And these are all 143rd scale, 148th. What scale are they?
'Cause they're-
143rd. These are
Okay, so they'll fit nicely on that flat car.
they'll look great on the flat car.
Yep.
I'm pretty excited,
yeah,
honestly.
we sized it. They don't overhang. They fit.
Hence
nice.
the extra tie downs as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
And
But
moving on, we have our
on the wave of motor vehicles, we have our Coca-Cola large scale vehicles.
Coca-Cola items. These are always a hit.
They're back.
Great value too. If you look at the prices on these, and they're nicely detailed. We have the beverage delivery truck, which if you're a modern guy, can't beat it. Same goes for the 53-foot Coca-Cola tractor trailer and tractor. Really cool. If you have a modern layout, again, fit on there seamlessly. And then we have a bunch of transition era. Well, we call them transition era. Really, is 1930s, 1950s, and 60s vehicles. So we have the Dodge KH32 Fountain truck. That's pretty unique. That's a cool little marketing kind of vehicle Coca-Cola would use back in the day.
It has like a machine in the back.
Yeah. Kind of like an ice
It's like
cream
a
man
little
truck.
bar. That's funny.
Yeah, it's like an ice cream
really
truck,
cool.
really.
Yeah, that's neat.
We have the 1945 panel delivery van. Have to imagine that was pretty common back in the day.
Yeah.
As well as the promotional Chevy Nomad. That's pretty cool. I like the Chevy station wagons. And
What else can we put the logo on?
it's cool because it was a station wagon but sports car. You can notice the single door there.
And what scale are these? 143rd?
These are
I
all
believe
130.
so, yeah,
Yep,
143rd.
143rd.
Except for the
delivery truck and the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer is 150, and then listed there are some HO ones in there, 187.
Yeah, we just cross-marketed some HO ones in there as well.
But those will be available in the next HO catalog.
Continuing with it, we have the Volkswagen bus with the Coca-Cola promo on the top, along with trailer. That's a pretty cool one.
That's sick.
As well as the Chevy pickup with the Coca-Cola cooler that goes in the back. It's pretty cool as well. All of these are cool. I'm going to keep repeating myself.
Because they're that cool.
Yeah.
They're neat.
1957 Ford Ranchero.
That is a funky looking car.
It's kind of like a
thing.
Earlier El Camino.
Yeah.
Ford's version of the El Camino.
That is funky.
Never even knew about that before. That's pretty
cool. Well, you're not old enough.
No, I'm not. Know the El Camino, but not the Rancherino. And then, and as we mentioned, we cross-market some HO in here just in case, you got some HO friends and you want to share with them what we have available. These are also going to be marketed in our HO catalog coming up too. We have the beverage 187 scale beverage delivery truck. That's another modern one, along with 2 modern Coca-Cola truck and trailers. Pretty nice. $11.99. Can't beat the price.
The iconic polar bears.
Yeah.
And at the end, we have our track listings, and then coming to a close here, we have our Golden Spike Club offering back there.
We want to hammer because this is only open until January 27th, I believe, which is the Monday after Springfield.
Yep.
So you got another 2 weeks to reserve your Golden Spike Club items.
Which is the ES44 911, the 5344 boxcar, as well as the 55-ton coal hopper. These are exclusive for the Golden Spike members. We want to get your orders in, so please pre-order these items so we don't end up with someone.
And you get exclusive pricing too. That's the best part. So not only do you get exclusive paint scheme for the Golden Spike, you also get a really, really nice discount. So your membership is pretty much, when you weigh in the discount, you're kind of like, I don't want to say your membership's free because it's not, but when you calculate in your head, you'd be paying way more if you didn't have the membership and you wanted to buy these items.
And we're kicking it off. We have a lot more items that we'd like to do throughout the year. So please show the Golden Spike some love, and we'll get you some really awesome items throughout the year.
And then quickly, because Paul came down and left a little note, he said our stream, when he went back, ended at the CSX-8. So please quickly go over everything we did before that, just in case our stream we can't recover what we did before.
So, all right, Andy, go back to the beginning.
You want to go back to the Dash-8?
Might as well just do it.
Let's do the U30C, GP40, and he said the CSX-8 is where it starts.
Okay, cool. So we'll go to the U30C.
So Andy, he said the stream starts when he goes backwards.
And then it stopped?
It stopped like where I'm talking about the CSX-8.
Weird.
Yeah.
Because it says it's still red. So
yeah, that is weird.
Okay.
It's pretty strange. And Cody he was telling us similar things too.
Okay.
Well, the fans out there, you're going over your U30C right now.
All right. So we are back to that page.
Yeah.
And
around.
That's great, actually. I could have messed something up. You never know.
So since we're back to the U30Cs, this is a former MTH Premier model, last produced in 2018 by MTH. So it's been more than a half a dozen years since the U30Cs were released. And of all the schemes in the winter 2025 catalog, only the UP was offered back by MTH in the last run, 2018. The run previous to that was 2014, and only the D&H in this year's winter 2025 offerings was built by MTH. So all of the offerings other than the UP and the D&H have never been done before in the U30C by MTH and will be now from Atlas. So that's the starting point. And we'll just jump through these schemes one more time and take it away, guys.
Yeah. So I'll just go through them quickly because we already spoke about them, but whether it was recorded or not, we'll find out.
They're pretty cool.
We'd have the D&H, which I said was a big buyer of the U30C. both phase 1 and phase 2. They bought both. The model itself, as seen, depicts a phase 2. That's what you'll be getting. Then we have Detroit Edison, which I said was owned by the power company and operated by Conrail. Pretty cool. They had these until they replaced them with SD40s, and eventually they replaced their SD40s with just Conrail taking over the operations. So when Conrail took over the operations, these Detroit Edison U30s went to 2 places. They went to out to Minnesota to the Iron Range.
Oh yeah,
Lake
Superior
LS.
and Ishpeming.
Yep, that one.
Lake Superior and Ishpeming.
And then a couple of them went to the Guilford Rail System, where you will see 640 operated on the Guilford for, I would say, like a year or 2. It even received a full Guilford repaint, but ultimately mechanical issues brought her down. So
I feel that was kind of the problem with the GEs. Even back then, if you had one, you just let it run until it died. But if you had multiple,
really the biggest operators of GE, like unless you bought a fleet of GEs, you wouldn't run them very long.
Yeah,
at least
it's a shame.
That's what the old ones were. The new GEs, anything built post 1990, people are running into the ground today because they're so reliable. Now we have the next road name up is Louisville and Nashville. Huge, very large purchaser of the U30C model.
And really all GEs. I mean, they bought a lot.
They even bought their demo unit that's shown on the next page, $14.99, which came in the XR paint scheme, which we talked about earlier, is for just upgraded electronics. They're showcasing in their 30 series. They had 30Bs painted with the XR on it, and they had 30Cs with the XR painted on it. And they're
not the only railroad that demonstrated the XR, but again, that was just for compatibility's sake.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
It is really cool. So if you're a Southeastern rail fan, that's one for you to grab.
How many? Not to sidetrack, but how many of these schemes did they have?
Just one.
Just the one. Right?
Just the one. Yeah. That was the one-off.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So they would have their mundane L&N gray and yellow, and then they would have this flamboyant thing running next to it.
That's honestly amazing.
Yeah. And then moving right along, we have Sioux Line, another pretty big operator of the U30Cs, and as well as Sioux Line, we have Union Pacific, 1980s paint scheme. Basically, right before they retired, they were in this paint scheme. And then we have the 2 limited edition collector series models. We have a CSX, which is the patched over Louisville and Nashville, which saw limited, like when CSX acquired these units, they were already older, and CSX didn't want. They repainted some in their dark gray and blue scheme, but for the most part, these were just patches, and then ultimately retired. So this patch really shows what it looked like on CSX. Mm-hmm. And then the last one for the U30Cs is the beautiful Rock Island Bankruptcy Blue, which is a alternative history by Atlas. What if Rock Island went to the bankruptcy blue paint scheme and didn't go bankrupt? So,
which really would have been cool.
It would have been cool.
The standard was the red and yellow, which
the red and yellow
really both schemes. Everyone loves these schemes.
Yeah,
and of course these engines, Protosound 3 and 2 and 3 rail offerings.
Yes.
So all the GE engine sounds will be in here, and the diesel exhaust, diesel smoke, for those of you who want to call it that, will be in here. And you may have seen it, maybe you didn't. Some of these engines show a beacon light on the roof, depending on the paint scheme, the railroad. So you can trigger that with the DCS system as well. And speaking of the DCS system, I think we mentioned it at the top of the show, but since we apparently went off air for a little bit, that'll be demoed at Amherst in the Atlas booth. So if you have any questions, feel free to come by and ask. But all of these engines that are equipped with Protosound 3 can run under DCS.
Absolutely. Yeah. Stop by the booth if you're in Springfield. Come ask Andy all your WTIU questions you can. I'll have an iPad with the WTIU manual, so I'll be able to tell you maybe. But Andy's your guy.
Yeah, there you go. I'm your guy. Okay, so next up is the Premier Line GP40, and also former MTH tooling, and last run by MTH in 2020, And of all the paint schemes that Atlas is offering in the winter 2025 catalog, only MBTA was run by MTH. So everything else that's in here is a new scheme that's being done by Atlas. So great opportunity to get some more engines that haven't ever been done before in this particular model in railroads. You'll notice that these are only offered in 3-rail, and that's because there was no 2-rail pilot ever built for this locomotive. And when we offer them a 2-rail, the pilot's fixed to the bottom of the chassis and it's configured for a scale coupler instead of the big O-gauge coupler. So when we don't have the pilot, we only offer it in 3-rail.
That explains that.
Yep.
So sorry, 2-rail boys.
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
It does come with the Protoscale 32 truck, which is the heart of the 2-rail, 3-rail capability. So you do have the ability to put in scale wheels, and you could dork around with your pilot and fix it if you wanted to. But certainly the engine can be configured quite easily to run on 2-rail track with the Protoscale 32 feature. That's a standard feature in all of these engines.
Yes. Is our camera back on there, Cody? Love the new studio.
I think it has a sleep feature we got to figure out.
I think it's because everything like reset. But
Yeah.
well, starting off, we have the Burlington Northern. I think this is the GATX, little sublettering on it.
It's cool.
Which is pretty cool. Very prevalent on Burlington Northern, Midwest, and westward. These were hauling all kinds of traffic. We'll move on to the C&O, which this was another prevalent locomotive design, really up and down the East Coast in pool service. We had a lot of these come throughout New Jersey, so we had to include it there. And you said Staten Island and all that. So the C&J was kind of buddy-buddy, the C&O, B&O.
The C&O, B&O is like the big brother of the C&J.
Yeah, so we had to include that in this run. We have the ever colorful GATX leasing, which is a really cool scheme. I think it's Andy's favorite scheme in this run.
It is.
It's really pretty. And for GATX, it's like it's a lot going on. Like,
for a leaser, it's a lot going on.
Which they don't really look like that anymore. But, no. This is pretty cool. Now, for our Midwestern fans, we're going to start with the Illinois Central Death Star, as we call it. On the nose, it has the iconic Death Star logo. It's a circle with an eye in it. It looks like the Death Star. Some of these are still kicking around today, a lot crustier, but they still do have that iconic black, white, and the logo on the front. So coming from the Midwest again, we did Metra. Metra in this very interesting scheme, as we'll say. It has the swoosh kind of imitating the MP36 locomotives. This is something that's in maintenance away service primarily, or it's in rescue train service. Metra's a little more liberal with getting the trains moving. They just need whatever's there.
Yeah, whatever
can work. These usually hang around the shops a lot, and when that model's Metra, they'll probably get one of these, especially with our bi-level cars and our F40s coming out. You got to have a Jeep 40
really soon. F40s came in, I want to say, before winter break.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, so F40s are in at your hobby shops, and then the bi-levels will be a couple weeks from now.
Yes, they will. Yeah, a couple weeks from now. So get your Metra fix all here, folks.
All your Metra O-scale items are coming in at once.
Yep. Yeah, that wallet is not safe.
Once. You could break it up and
still
pre-order this.
That wallet's got
it'll be
looking
fine.
over his shoulder, you know. But moving right along from passenger style Jeep 40s, we have the MBTA and its iconic lightning bolt, as we say, with the purple. These are more nighttime maintenance away service, but you can see them from time to time in a pinch. Everyone loves the purple scheme.
Yeah.
This is kind of great to announce since we're going to Springfield. Sure, there happens to be MBTA fans in Springfield.
Just a bit.
Just a touch.
One or two.
A tad. But closing out the passenger segment of the Jeep 40s is the UTA, which is the Utah Transportation Authority. It's another passenger operation. This would kind of come into play. These had, not on our model though, but these had HEP motors to help out with passenger service if it needed to. It's a Grey Ghost scheme, as we call it. Nothing really going on except for the logo. We did have one of these show up on the East Coast, so we wanted to include it in the run. So enjoy it. We have, closing out this, the Wisconsin Central. Very iconic in the Midwest with its maroon yellow scheme. Really cool nose decal on there. And if it's just great, like
Yeah, no,
that's just like a great scheme.
It's a really nice little scheme Wisconsin Central had. Looked great on all their bigger power too as well.
Yep. And again, these are 3-rail only. Sorry about that, 2-railers. But 3-railers rejoice. They're getting a nice GP40.
Yeah.
I believe ditch lights were applicable.
You are correct.
All right, that's cool. So Trainman Dash-8, I think, is the last piece that we may have missed. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll tackle that real fast here.
Now, this is the first time this is being offered with Protosound 3.
That is correct.
Brand new feature in the Trainman Dash-8.
It's kind of like the theme. It's the locomotive of the catalog, if you will. We have the Dash-8s on the table. This is Matt's favorite and pet project. And these, even though they're Trainman, they're very nice looking locomotives.
They're beautiful. They're fully to scale. Instead of like, I know Andy, you have that wonderful Premier Dash-8 as well, but ours has, instead of etched metal, like we have molded in place radiator sections, but they're covered, painted black, leather. Like it's a nice,
it's a good looking piece, no doubt about it.
For a value locomotive, it's a great locomotive. It's
$499 MSRP.
You really can't beat it,
which is awesome. And these engines, we had so many requests for these Dash-8s that they're here, so grab them up.
And these models look excellent in 2-rail, by the way.
They are.
They look like a full scale model in 2-rail. They kind of look brass in 2-rail.
It's very cool.
So
good looking piece.
Not to delay, but let's go through the road names. We have, in this run for the first time, we have BNSF in the H1, which H1 kind of stands for their Heritage One, which BNSF painted up in the late 90s, like when BNSF first formed, up until 2004, I want to say.
Yeah.
They use
war bonnet on the front.
Yep, they would use this paint scheme. So it has a nice bubble letters. It's very cool. It was very picturesque at the time. They would run these on the West Coast through all those mountainous and tree wooded areas.
It resonates with like young and old because we had like Microsoft Trainman.
Yeah, and
that was like
for us. This is an old paint scheme for us.
Yeah,
we say old for us, but it's only 20-year-old paint scheme.
Yeah, really.
And then we have Canadian National, which Canadian National got these from BNSF, and they used them on their iron ore service, which they acquired from Bessemer Lake Erie and all those good iron ore roads. So CN bought these Dash-8s later in their life and put them into iron ore service because they're reliable and they pull a lot. Perfect for iron ore. Yeah. And we have Conrail as delivered, like the first delivery of Conrail with the classic can opener, not the Conrail quality. We have the
newly tooled cab.
On that. So Conrail is done correctly. It will have the marker lights on the cab as well as no sunshade because Conrail did not believe in sunshades. And we will have the correct marker lights on the rear end.
So you're telling me I can get a Conrail Dash-8, the correct cab with ditch lights?
Yes.
Wow.
That's crazy. $499.
$499. Slap that bad boy.
And 2-rail, I think the analog price is insanely cheap. The 2-rail analog price is $350.
What?
Yeah, that's for an O-scale locomotive in 2025.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No,
these are really good engines. They're great.
And then, so these previous paint schemes are now, not obviously visible on the tracks anymore. But this next one is. We have CSX YN3C, which is basically yellow nose phase 3 paint scheme.com. So this is CSX's website scheme.
That's the newest.
This is the newest, and these Dash-8s are still out on the road. You can spot them still today. CSX they have, I'd probably say, like less than 100 other Dash-8s still in the service. But they're still out there. Every once in a while, I'll catch them trackside. And it's pretty cool to see.
The YN3 was their original, right?
Yeah. A locomotive older than me on the rails because that's not too common anymore unless it's an old Jeep or something. And then on the next page, we have Norfolk Southern. This will also share the Conrail cab because these came from Conrail.
Directly
to Conrail. And that's in the nice horsehead scheme, which is the last paint scheme these served in before being scrapped because NS doesn't operate these anymore. And then we have Union Pacific and the We Will Deliver, which is really cool. This was kind of like their mid-90s paint scheme, just a simple, kind of like their 1960s marketing on their cabooses. Is kind of what they did here with their locos. Just a little simple marketing line that they will deliver in their reliable railroad to contract with.
Everything, didn't they?
They did
pretty much. Yeah.
SD90 Max on them, all they put it on so many
Box
things.
cars.
Even like GP38s, they put
Yeah.
it on. It made no sense, but they put it everywhere. And then we have the limited edition collector series, which Ross really pushed and nudged me for.
It's the winner in the catalog, is what he's saying.
The very, very, I want to say, classy and handsome Genesee and Wyoming heritage scheme. This was seen on the G&W RS1s way back in, I want to say, like the early 80s when G&W started to get up and going. This was G&W's first ever paint scheme. Now that G&W is a huge corporation and is operating railroads all over our country, East Coast, Central, you name it, you can see G&W locomotives. They're kind of going back and celebrating their history, and we thought this was really cool. It's a heritage unit, basically, for the G&W, and it's lettered up GNRW, which is usually they have sub-reporting marks, but this one has actual legit G&W marks.
Very interesting all around, and it was a bit of a surprise when it came out, and we just had to have it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise to see G&W acquire all these Dash-8s.
Yeah.
They got tons now.
Yeah, they were more of a Jeep Road and smaller power.
Yeah.
But other than that, is that where we cut off?
That's where we cut off. So I think
if we have any time for Q&A, I have no idea. Cody's in charge of the Q&A. But this catalog, the pre-order period is until February 26th. So please get your catalog orders in. February 26th is the deadline.
Cody, let's do it. We haven't done Q&A in a while. Let's check our time.
Time is it?
Let's do like 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes.
10 minutes, that's fine. What do you think, Andy?
That's fine with me.
So, Cody or Andy, you want to read us some?
Well, Andrew Falconer wants to know if there's 2 center rail roller pickups. I think he's talking about the Dash-8.
There is. So, there's just a single on each truck.
On each truck. So, if I don't know if he was talking about that, but I'm basing that on where it showed up.
Yeah. So just one on each truck. It's got quite a footprint. It's a big engine.
It's got 6 axles.
Yeah, you will install.
Yeah, no, they run really smooth. Any other?
I'm looking.
Activity.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Good. Cody, you got anything cool?
Rail Rider 713 asked when will the Metro passenger cars come out?
That's a great question. So we had from Rail Rider 17, when are the Metro bi-level passenger cars coming out? We're thinking about 2 to 3 weeks. They're already coming right now.
They're loaded on the container.
Yeah, they're in process. The F40s came already. So why not order a nice GP40 with those bi-levels?
Yeah, so to answer that, mid-February ETA.
Mid-Feb, yeah.
For the Metro bi-levels.
Thanks, Cody.
David Walker asked what kind of controllers run Atlas engines.
That's a great question.
Basically, Lionel or MTH controls. So you can run Atlas engines with Lionel only in conventional mode, not in command mode. You can run the locomotives in command mode using the DCS system, which can also run Lionel engines in command mode. So that's the only system out there that does both systems in command mode. We can show people at Amherst if they come by. But basically, if you want to run it and you only have Lionel equipment, you're only running them in conventional mode.
That's true.
Yeah, and we made the switch to recently. So DCS is our controlling software for all the Atlas engines, right?
Yep,
so,
Master Series, Trainman, all the old Atlas locomotives will be receiving DCS going forward. Such as the Trainman Dash-8s right in front of us.
Yep.
DCS.
What else you got, Cody?
6 trains and
Thick trains.
Metro hopper cars.
So we had a question if we'll make Metro hopper cars. The answer is a solid maybe.
Maybe
we can pass that along.
A prototype photo of what you want, and we'll think about it.
So that actually is a great segue. So info@atlasrr.com. Go ahead if you have any product suggestions, high-res photos. The worst we can say is maybe.
Or no.
But usually maybe for me because it's all pretty cool.
Yeah.
So send it. Any suggestions? We would love if you have a photo behind it. That makes our job a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because we can at least reference it.
The manufacturers really rely on consumer feedback and input. So, I mean, we'd like to think we're a bunch of geniuses, but we're not. And it really, the product lines, I've been doing this a long, long time, are really shaped by what the consumers are asking for. And not every ask is viable, but we definitely see trends with suggestions and so forth. And it's not uncommon to act on those trends. So if you see something that you like or desire something that hasn't been done before, or a paint scheme on a particular model, that's the way we respond, is with that input. So don't hesitate to reach out and give us that.
Our fearless leader just brought us a Metra bi-level with the shadow lettering in it. And Andy, I don't know if you actually got to see your own handiwork.
No, I have not.
How the shadow, it came out awesome. It
Good.
looks
fluting.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to look like.
That's really
Good.
cool.
Yeah. No, it looks like there's texture there.
That's what it's supposed to. That's awesome to hear. Are you bringing that to Amherst?
We will.
Think so. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. So if you look at one of these BNSF fluted cars, looks really, really nice. I think you're gonna be really happy with them.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Thanks,
so
Paul.
yeah, those Metra cars coming in really soon.
Yeah. What else you got, Cody?
Fixed Trains asked, are there figures in those cars?
That's
Yes,
a great
sir.
question. So we got a question if there are figures in the bi-level cars. And the answer is yes.
I would say half the seats are occupied.
Yeah, the Premier cars, they come with passenger figures. And they look really cool.
No, it looks like a lively train going into
the city, people going to work,
Yeah.
Good question.
Very cool.
Any other ones? That's all you got, Cody? That's all Cody has. Andy, you got
I'm not seeing anything else either. There's a lot of dialogue amongst viewers between themselves.
Good. We like that too. That's great.
Yeah, it's all good.
But if that's it, all we have Wednesday, February 26th is the deadline for this catalog. Please get your pre-orders into the dealer or distributor of your choice. We'd really love for everyone to get the trains they want, and we got to get these rolling.
Yeah.
So February 26th is our due date for everything. You have anything else?
Nothing else to add.
Other than that, look for us at the Amherst show. That's the last weekend of January. You're going to see our smiling faces, some cool layouts, WTIU demonstration, and a lot of trains. And you'll see Cody not behind a camera for once. I'll actually be there.
Meet and greet Cody.
Cody has quite the fan club. He's just a big 6-foot-something tree. That's really all he is. Other than that, thanks, Andy. Thanks for your help with this. Matt, great job. That's all we have. Thanks, Cody. Good job.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you soon.
Later.
All right. Bye-bye.